play some tricks.
Let's run! Dancing time!
Suffocating now. Here, swift wind. Howling by. Huh?
Got a summer surprise! Sign for it? Dancing time! Too late!
This one's unusual.
Got it! The show must go on! Surf's up! Floaty bomb! Here I come! Send for Bucky!
I can feel it.
It's dancing time!
The frigid wind is coming. Are you ready?
Alrighty, I won't hold back! Wow, he's gonna dump the bad guys on me like...
Beware. Think it.
I'll help blast your trouble! Sky high! It's dancing time!
Suffocating now. Think it. You're a fool.
Here we go! Friday flex! Bouncy whirlwind! Surf's up!
Is that all? Suffocating now.
Evil retreats. Cut through darkness. The sword follows my will and winds howl in the heavens. Frost forces. Leave it to me. Split the heavens. Let this sword array send you away! I'll be fine!
Defying order will suffer eternally!
Split the heavens! The line is gone! Split the heavens! Here comes Bubblegum! Lightning! Leave it to me! Split the heavens! Opening for you! The doors of music! A measure of steel slices the world through! Radiant cloud! Split the heavens! My turn! The Extremguan will Yudenkoi summit, breaking all illusions! Radiant cloud. Watch closely. This is the real deal. Leave it to me. Light brings the dawn. Just in time. Pure frost. Radiant cloud. Frost loosens. My one and only bubblegum. Icy edge. Radiant cloud. Frost loosens. I'll be fine. The sword follows my will, and winds howl in the heavens. Let this sword array send you away.
I'll protect you. Heads up.
Down one for complaints. If you spot an ethereal, shout for help.
Nothing slips through my defense. Nothing breaches my defense. Your journey ends with me.
Big sit together. We'll compose a miracle.
Don't cross the line. The threat is still active.
Intercept.
Nothing breaches my defense.
Pause not over yet. How's that?
The best defense is a strong offense. So
Hello? This is the end for you. Huh? Dial 2 for a chat.
counter it.
Spot an ethereal. Shout for help. Yep. You're pretty around. Customer service follow-up. Please.
Nothing slips through my defense. Trust the advantage. Don't cross the line. Your journey ends with me. The best defense is a strong offense.
Removing threat. Call's not over yet. Dial 2 for a chat.
Nothing breaches my defense.
Music is the rhythm of life.
Nothing breaches my defense. Heads up.
The verdict is unforgivable. Please.
Nothing slips through my defense.
Turn around!
Don't cross the line. Your journey ends with me.
Today's work order, kick some butt!
The best defense is a strong offense.